Hello, welcome to this Year 12 A-Level Maths session on simple trig equations. So we're going to start off with telling you what type of equations we're going to be solving. Sine theta equals k, cos theta equals k. K is going to be a number between -1 and 1. That makes sense if we look at the graph. Look, sine x is between 1 and -1, and cos x just exists between 1 and -1 as the output. Tan theta equals p. P can be any value. This graph, the output could rise up towards infinity and down towards negative infinity. Principal values, that's what happens when you put inverse cos or inverse sine, inverse tan. You put the values into the calculator. What angle comes out first? Well, your cos value will be between 0 and 180. Sine value will be between negative 90 and positive 90, and the tan value will be between negative 90 and positive 90. So that's good to know, it's useful to know for solving. Right, let's get into solving some equations. I've got some prepared. We're going to have a go at with the calculator. So see that sine theta equals √3/2. You've got to restrict it. We're going to say, okay, between 0 and 360. If they don't have that, you've got an infinite number of solutions. So here we go. You probably know the answer to this, but I'm going to show you the method for solving any of them. Theta equals inverse sine, or arc sine if you like, √3/2. And if you put that into your calculator, make sure it's in degrees. Mine's in degrees. Shift sine √3/2, and as expected I've got 60 degrees. Now that's not my only solution. Let's look at the cos graph. That's 60 degrees there, it's √3/2. √3/2 would be about there. 60 degrees, move across. Look, there's another solution there. Look at the symmetry. If that's 60 degrees in, I think 60 degrees in from there, I'm going to get √3/2. So I do 180 degrees minus 60 degrees, and that gives me 120 degrees. You can check that in your calculator, but that's your solution. Two solutions for that equation. Make sure you know well the symmetry and the shape of your trig graphs. Here we are, 3 sine theta equals 2 is our second example. Sine theta equals 2/3. Theta equals inverse sine of 2/3. So I'm going to have theta equals shift sine 2/3. There you go, 41.8. Just do it to one decimal place here. You're also going to have another solution. It's just going to be the same as before. Know your symmetry of the graph, minus 41.8 degrees. Just do, if you want, on your calculator, 180 minus your answer, 138.2 there. 138.2 degrees. There you go. Showing you working. Cos theta equals 1/2. Bit of fun with cos now. So theta is going to be inverse cos of 1/2. Let's have a look. Shift cos, just going to type 0.5 in there, quicker, which is 60 degrees. You probably already knew that one. Now theta equals, let's have a look at the cos graph. There you go, there's your cos graph. Half, we're in 60 degrees. Now the symmetry there is, imagine a mirror line there, a line of reflection. So 60 degrees in there is like going 60 degrees back from 360. You get a half there, you get a half there. 60 degrees in, 60 degrees in. Again, understand your symmetry. 360 minus 60 degrees, and you've got 300 degrees as your solution. There you go. Hopefully you are happy with that one. Sine theta equals 2 cos theta. Sine theta over cos theta equals 2. Well, what's sine over cos? That's right, tan. Tan theta equals 2. Theta equals inverse tan of 2. Let's bang that into the calculator. Shift tan 2, 63.4. Just going for 3 decimal places there. Sorry, 1 decimal place. Tan graph, really easy to find multiple solutions. Look, there's 0, there's 180. There's a period of 180. It repeats itself every 180 degrees. So I just add 180 to this. 180 degrees, add 63.4 degrees, 243.4 degrees. Job done. Now, let's have a look at this one. Might be a bit more interesting. Might not be, but it might be. Right, theta equals inverse sine of -1/3. And we are solving this between 0 and 360. I should have put that there. I should have put 0 to 360 there. Just go there, back up there. So should try and be thorough every now and again. Right, let's have a look in here. Shift sine -1/3. And lo and behold, I get a negative solution. -19.5 to 1. Well, what do you notice about that? Yes, that's right. You notice it's not a valid solution. Yes, it's not in range. Just say not in the range, if you like. Let's look at our graph. Well, our solution's about there. Now, you might notice, well, that's 19.5 degrees that way. Look at the symmetry. If I go 19.5 degrees that way, and then 19.5 degrees that way, you're getting the same value. You're getting the same value. So look at that, 19.5 degrees that way gives me -1/3. About 19.5 degrees that way, -1/3. 19.5 degrees that way. So let's have a look. So my solutions there would be 180 plus 19.5 degrees. So that is 200 and, oh no, I'm being silly there, 199.5 degrees. And then theta also equals 360 degrees minus 19.5. So that would be 341.5 degrees. So those are my two solutions. Using that shift of 19.5. That's because I know the symmetry of the graph. I know about the repeated solutions. Get your head round how the graph repeats itself. Now, a final problem here. We are going to use our very useful identity that cos squared theta is equivalent to 1 minus sine squared theta. And that's going to help me solve this. So 3 sine squared theta minus 4 lots of 1 minus sine squared theta. And then we've only got signs and numbers. So 3 sine squared theta minus 4. Negative times a negative is a positive. Plus 4 sine squared theta, which equals 1. 7 sine squared theta 3 add 4 is 7. The 4 goes over there and becomes 5. So sine squared theta equals 5/7. Let's have a look. That means sine theta is going to equal root 5/7, the positive version, or the negative of root 5/7. Both of these are going to be less than the modulus of 1, so we're okay. So let's first solve sine theta equals root 5/7. Shift sine root 5/7. Ooh. Let's see what it tells me. 57.7 degrees. And you remember from earlier that I can just do 180 minus that because of the graph. There you go. Great fun. 180 minus the answer of that. 122.3 degrees. Now I've got another set of solutions from this bit. So I'm saying, okay, sine theta equals negative root 5/7. So I'm going to have here two solutions. Here we go. So shift sine negative, put the fraction in there, 5/7. See, I get a negative solution. So I get a negative solution. Remember what we did with that, so I can just say, well, it's going to be 300, one of them is going to be 360, add my answer, so I could have that shift away from 360, so I'm going to get 302.3. But also 180, take away that negative answer. Oh, just have to get that back. So shift sine, should be negative, sorry, negative of root 5/7. Sorry, this is a long video. It's nearly as long as the Irishman. Right, 180, add your answer, or even take away your answer. Let's get that back, I do apologise. Right, shift sine, negative, I'm losing the plot now, we're nearly there, 5/7, this will all be worth it. And there we go, I'll just make a note of that. So look, principal solution is negative 57.7. So that's the key value. So I know it's going to be 180 plus the 57.7. Remember what happens with that? 237.7. We got there in the end. If you're still watching, you've persevered, and there's your payoff. Now this solution, because there's a square in it, happens to have 4 solutions. Well, thank you if you managed to stay on board for all of those 14 minutes and enjoy doing the practice.